The Eyes of Texas were finally able to open their eyes and watch Texas football.
The volleyball team continues despite their competition.
Plus, Jordan Spieth has got the juice. We'll tell you more about the former Longhorns' rapid climb.
All this and more on College Press Box.
Good evening and welcome to College Press Box. My name is Joshua Blunt and tonight with me is Julian Owens. How are you this evening, Julian?
I'm doing great, Josh. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good too. Better than a lot of Longhorns could say after the past 2 weeks on the 40 acres.
I'd have to agree with you on that one. I really do. With a lot of buzz going around saying Mack Brown will be leaving Austin after this season, Coach lets the experts talk as he prepared to face Kansas State in DKR this past Saturday. After a 10-year slouch against Kansas State, Coach Mack Brown does what he can to win the Horns' first game in conference play. Let's head to DKR for the highlights. You see Bevo just sitting there, just getting ready for the game, and also you see David Ash. He is cleared to play, and he will play in the first half. Now we'll go in the first. Texas is up 3-0. Dave Ash will pass to Kendall Sanders for the 63-yard bomb straight into the end zone. Texas will lead this game 10-0. And it'll be 3rd and 5 on Kansas State ball. Malcolm Brown will get the sack in the middle of the play, and K-State will have to force to punt this ball. And on Texas ball, 2nd and 4 with Kansas in the 21-yard line, Jonathan Gray using his legs to get straight into the end zone, getting straight cut through Kansas State defense, and Texas will go up 17-0. With Kansas State ball, again, Jordan Hicks will get John Hubert right there at a big stop, and he'll lose 2 yards on that play. Also, later in that half, Kansas State ball, 2nd and 12. Jake Waters will have a deep pass to the 47-yarder. It will set up K-State for a touchdown. But also, again, K-State ball, it will give it straight to John Hubert, who will rush for 15 yards. But Texas would lead this game 17-7 going in half.
And look who's at halftime, Julian. Vince Young, former quarterback for UT, second half. Kansas State with the ball. However, John Hubert fumbles, and it was recovered by the tank, Desmond Jackson. Texas gets the ball now. It's 4th and 2nd. And Alex De La Torre runs the fake punt for the first down to extend the drive for the Longhorns. 1st and 10 at the Kansas State 15. Jonathan Gray takes the ball 15 yards for the touchdown. Texas is leading 24-7. Texas ball again, 3rd and 6. On the 9, Malcolm Brown this time has an 8-yard rush. Texas will go up 31-14. Kansas State will get the ball back, and Jake Waters, however, tries to keep it close, rush for a 1-yard touchdown. It cuts the lead to Texas 31-21. Kansas State trying to come back, however, they can't at the end, and Jenkins does a little ditty as Texas wins their first Big 12 conference game, 31-21. Excuse me. Well, the Texas had a great game and really filled the air as the Texans captured their first win in 3 games, and even more considering it was a conference game. College Press Box Harry Hoffman had more on the Longhorns win.
Under the national spotlight at DKR on Saturday evening, the Texas Longhorns bounced back after consecutive losses and beat Kansas State for the first time since 2003.
They fought hard for 60 minutes. They were more consistent tonight than we have been. We forced 3 turnovers and didn't have one. Overcame a lot of adversity during the ball game, and just really proud of the way they played and excited about being 1-0 in the Big 12.
No matter what is being said about this Texas team, the players and coaches look to each other and continue to fight.
I don't hear it. I listen to these guys. It's really all that matters. Calls the plays, we run them, we execute them. They're putting us in good situations.
They're working very, very hard. They really are, and I think it's effort with a purpose too.
In the last 2 weeks, the biggest storyline was how the Longhorns couldn't stop the run. But tonight, a swarming Texas defense only gave up 115 rushing yards and proved to the college football world that this team can compete for a Big 12 championship.
It was a great win. Came out and fought to the end, and that's what we got to keep in mind. It's going to be a fight all the way through the season, so we got to keep fighting.
We all know the talent that we have on this team, and if we just all focus and execute, we can just pull out wins like we did tonight.
This team's confidence is sky high heading into the rest of Big 12 play and will continue to fight for the name on the front of the jersey.
Once we put everything together, I mean, there's no limit to what we can do.
Harry Hoffman, College Press Box.
Well, Julian, you look at this Longhorn team who's reeling after 2 blowout losses. What is the biggest stat that stands out to you from this game and how Texas was able to recover and get their first Big 12 conference win?
I would say I have to say the rushing game in this team for the Longhorns. You know, they ran 227 yards, 2 more yards than the passing game has. Even though David Ash did get out in the first half. Jonathan Gray got his career high of 141 yards with 2 TDs, and also the defense only gave up 399 yards. And only 115 in rushing, completely better than the 800 yards they gave up in the first 2 games. So it's a very big game for the running game and a big stop for the rushing defense.
Do you see any keys from this game that the Longhorns can continue and improve upon as they enter more Big 12 play and try to get to that Big 12 championship?
Again, I like to say keep going with your running game. You have a great running core. You have Malcolm Brown, you have Jonathan Gray, who's the still runner, and you have Joe Bergeron, who's still trying to get his little case together, get some more touches. But if you put all those 3 together, you have a big dominating running game. So give up at least 200 yards per game. I see Longhorns doing something very nice.
Well, as the Texas football team is getting their shit back right, we'll see if Texas volleyball and soccer continue their smooth sailing throughout the weekend. Also, we have more football. How can we not? Stay tuned. This is College Press Box. Welcome back to College Press Box. And while football gets most of the notoriety around the 40 acres, it is the women of Texas sports who have been making the most noise. Julian, let's talk about volleyball. How are the reigning national champs during this season?
The reigning national champs look perfect. They look just like they were last year. You know, they do have a couple of mishaps. They do lose a few games that, you know, they think they should win. But playing against top 25 teams in the nation, they look pretty well. And I think that's going to help them as they're going into the regular season. With the last game of the preseason, Coach Elliott and the Horns volleyball team look to beat number 12 Nebraska Cornhuskers before heading into conference play next weekend. Early in the first set, you see number 11, Chiaka Obogu, who will get this kill in the first set, and they'll tie the game up 4-4. And then you see later in the first set, Hannah Allison to Kat Bell, and they'll tie the score up 10-10. And again, in the first set, 19-21, you'll see they pass it up straight to Kat Bell, who will just chop it right over her opponents, who will get her 20-21 in the first set. And you see the cheerleaders trying to get the crowd into the game, but they would lose the first set, 20-25. Now we're in the second set. To your right of your screen, Bailey Webster with the dominating kill over the defenders, and he'll get the game up a little bit. Now 7-11 later in the second set. Again, Bailey Webster one more time straight through the blockers, and she'll get the score for them, 8-11. Now later in the second set, one more time, Sarah Palmer will go for the dig. Hannah Allison straight to Bailey Webster one more time to get the spike, and her Horns will win the second set, 25-19. Now, the very first play of the third set, Haley Eckerman dominates and passes right over the blockers. We'll get the first point of the set. And then later, 26-25 Horns, Haley Eckerman passed right in the end of the court, and they would win that third set, 27-25. But they would lose the fourth set, which would get them to the fifth. Bailey Webster one last time was spiking over the team, and they would win the game, win the match 3-2. Texas going 6-2 in preseason. College Press Box's Arden Pullick has more on the game and what Coach Elliott looks forward to in conference play approaches this weekend.
Texas Longhorns finished their preseason play with a 5-set win against Nebraska. They ended on a high note with a tough-fought match.
For sure. I mean, I was expecting, I would have liked to go 8-0, but I wasn't expecting. This schedule is so tough, and obviously San Diego turned out to be really good, as did Arizona State, and these ladies were challenged every single night. They didn't have a night off, so we've got to get them ready and focus for TCU now, who's an in-state rival, and be ready for us Wednesday night. So we have a short turnaround here as we start the Big 12. But this is a long season, and we know that. And we've got to have some urgency as a team and keep getting better in those areas, and we'll make that happen.
Coach Elliott addresses the preseason struggle, but feels his team is ready to take on division play. He is confident this is the same team as last year, but in the short turnover before next week's game, they have a lot to work on.
We haven't had a lot of same players playing good on the same nights, and I think right now when you're going through this transition stuff, it's more about our transition swings, and we're not scoring at a high percentage.
Yeah, I mean, we're super excited. I feel like we ended preseason on a good note, but yeah, we're ready to get back to the Big 12 and really ready to compete because we know that, I mean, we have a lot of in-state rivals and everything, and I feel like that'll prepare us well for the tournament.
The Horns finished preseason with a 6-2 record. They take on their in-state rival TCU next weekend with high hopes of starting off Big 12 conference play with a win. Arden Pullig, College Press Box.
All right, Julian, looking at this team has the pieces to repeat as national champions. Do you think the Longhorns can get it done?
I think the Longhorns could get it done, you know. They have every single piece that they have. The only piece that they lost was Chardonnay McNeil because she was a senior, she graduated. But everybody is a year older. Everybody looks bigger. Haley Eckerman looks still dominating even though she did not look so well in this past game. Bailey Webster puts the team on her back. Everybody brings the pieces together. Hannah Allison bringing the assist, Sarah Palmer bringing the digs in, and they look like a great team, and they should go back and back-to-back national champions.
So if the Longhorns don't repeat, what do you think the reason will be?
I think it will be because of themselves. They take down themselves a lot of the times, especially in this past game against Nebraska. You see them trying to transition more, and the momentum would not switch very quickly as they used to be. So with that being said, if they keep the transition moving, if they keep the momentum flowing on their side, I see them going back in the national championships. The only time that won't happen is if they stop themselves doing it.
Well then. We move to soccer as this weekend the Longhorn soccer team looks to cross-kick their crosstown rivals Texas State back to San Marcos. We go out to Mike A. Meyer Stadium for the highlights. Texas looks to take on Texas State and get a win. We'll pick it up the last 5 minutes in the first half. Whitney James passes to Lindsey Meyer, who heads the ball in for a goal. Texas will go at 1-0 against Texas State. Later in the half, Katie Gerzenbacher has a long shot on goal, but she misses just above the crossbar. But it's okay. Chantel Campbell will come back, and her kick is blocked by a defender, Texas goalie Natalie Gardini. And Kelsey Shimmick shoots a no-looker and sinks the ball into the upper right corner. Texas will go up 2-0 on Texas State. Julia Deitch takes a long shot. She hits the crossbar on the left-hand corner, however, it does not go in. And then Julia Arnold aims wide left, but is blocked by Gardini once again. But Campbell spins left and scores her first career goal as Texas goes up 3-0, and they will go on to win 3-0 against Texas State. College Press Box had a chance to catch up with Chantel Campbell after the game.
It always feels good to score a goal and contribute on the field, so I was very happy. I find it's exciting. It's always fun to have a rivalry. It makes things a lot more intense and the crowd gets in the game more. So I think it's pretty cool. But obviously being at home, you don't want to lose. You want to represent your university well. And also the fact that Andrew's been really pushing us and we've been really pushing ourselves, and we want to win and do well this season, so we know every game counts.
College Press Box's Darren Peritano had a one-on-one with soccer head coach Angela Kelly about the win against UTSA last night.
I'm here with Coach Kelly after the big win over UTSA, 3-0. How does it look going forward to Big 12 play next week with TCU?
Looks fantastic. I think we've been challenged in our out-of-conference schedule, exactly what we were looking for. We played on the different types of surfaces we'll face in our conference play, from turf and grass. We played in different weather conditions, from standing water to 3-hour delays, and the adversity, we've almost found every ounce of it in terms of the conditions, so we're prepared for anything that might face us in that regard as well. The team is getting more sophisticated. They have a maturity within their play. It's just been really pleased at where we are to this point.
Okay. Y'all had a lot of opportunities with corner kicks tonight and didn't seem to convert on a lot of those opportunities. How does that going to affect you going forward?
Oh, it's not. I mean, we're going to continue to create our chances. You know, please, I think we had 32 shots. Not certain on the corner kick stat, but that's usually illustrates the possession, and that's a positive thing.
Okay. And any other thoughts on tonight's win?
just really, really excited for where we are. We're proud of the team, and excited about their effort and their mentality, and it's just we're excited to move forward.
Well, thank you very much. And that has been David Peritano with Coach Kelly.
Coming up from the break, we'll talk some more football and This Week in Longhorn Sports. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Cal's Press Box, and in this segment, we return to football. Julian, the question is, will Mack Brown be returning to the sidelines in the fall? There's been a lot of speculation about Coach Brown's future, as well as the future of the Longhorn football program. Julian, what are your thoughts on the situation?
Everybody's just a little skeptical, and everybody's just panicking about Texas football right now. They had a very disappointing season last year, 8-4, well 9-4 if you include the bowl game they won. With that being said, this is Mack Brown's first time as a UT football coach to go 1-2 in the season. Everybody is panicking. Everybody's wondering if they're even going to be well in the Big 12 conference play. That being said, it's too early to say that Mack Brown will leave this season, but I think that he knows his days are numbered here.
Do you think this is a situation much like how Bobby Bowden got ousted at Florida State, where a guy does a lot for a program, he builds it up to national prominence, but it just comes a time where their run is over? Do you think this could be a case?
I don't think he's going to get booted like Bowden did, but I think it's coming to his time. I think he has at least a season or two left as the coach here. Other than that, he was a great coach. As you look at his season stats these past 3 years, they were kind of bad, but overall he still was a good coach. Texas will give him his glory. Texas will give him a good outing. But yeah, again, he has maybe 1 or 2 seasons, but he will get a formal goodbye.
So if this is indeed Mack Brown's last season as head Texas football coach, who do you see taking the reins of the program and leading the Longhorns back to national prominence?
I'm going to have to be biased on this one. I'll have to go with all the rumors that's going on in ESPN and the AP polls. Nick Saban. I see Nick Saban coming in, and he is going to come and take in as the head coach of the Texas football team. Everybody knows that Nick Saban goes where the money goes. He did that with Miami. He did that with Alabama. He's going to do it with Texas. If Texas gives him a good contract, he's coming here.
Well, we like to speculate about the future in Mack Brown. We need to take a look and stay in the present, as the Longhorns have a number of important injuries to key players that they need to address. Julian, what is the most damaging injury the Longhorns have suffered?
So far, I have to say, is David Ash's injury right now. You know, Dejae Johnson, Mike Davis, they all are big players, but I think Mike Davis will come back from his record. He still looks very nice, but David Ash, he is almost your cornerstone for your quarterback right now. And if you looked at the stats from the last game against Kansas State, Case only threw for 9 passes and only completed 5 of them. And he started the whole second half, but David threw 25. That's a problem. If you can't throw that many passes in a game, the defense will tear you apart like Oklahoma did to us. Did they to Texas in a Red River rivalry game last season. So that's the biggest injury for right now, as for the Longhorns right now.
All right, so Julian, you mentioned Ash as being the most damaging of the injuries, but how far can this team go without Ash, Hicks, Johnson, and Davis?
Right now, I don't see them going that far into Big 12 conference play or winning that many conference play games. Dejae is your speed. Dejae is one of your best players in the game. He is known for his speed. Again, David Ash, he's a good scrambling quarterback. He gets you the passes. He gives you what you need for that. And Hicks, even though Hicks has been, in and out for most of the season, he was still a great dominating player on your defense. Losing all 3 of those key players and Mike Davis, who was a big, deep threat, that's a big problem for the Longhorns offense and defense. So I don't see them going that far in the season.
Well, with the bye week, Texas has some time to heal before resuming Big 12 play, and this has been the most wide-open Big 12 season, maybe even in conference history. So, Julian, I want to get your thoughts on Baylor and Oklahoma State. They've had great games so far and have explosive players such as Lake Sheestrunk and J.W. Walsh. What do you think of these two teams so far?
I think both of them are very good. You know, we basically we all talked about it last year. Baylor looked great. West Virginia looked great in the first couple of games, but as soon as you go into Big 12 conference play, it's a whole different ball game. But if you look at J.W. Walsh right now, he is a very phenomenal player. He has gotten better than what he was last year. Yeah, he was a decent quarterback. He did give him a couple of passes. He did make some nice big passive yards when the game needed. But now he's a more elevated quarterback. He's going to do better. I think he'll be the one to pull it off this season for the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
And they face West Virginia this weekend. How do you see them faring in that game?
I see them faring very well in this game. I see them destroying West Virginia, unfortunately. But, you know, like I said, this Oklahoma State team looks mature. It looks like they're knowing what is going on. They know that the Big 12 is going to be a big game, and they're going to fight for this. I see J.W. Walsh destroying them. I give him at least 300 yards this game and just destroying West Virginia this game.
Really? Okay. Well, and then we'll talk about their crosstown rival, Oklahoma, as they take the national spotlight against Notre Dame. Do you see them avenging that tough blowout, I should say, at home against Notre Dame last season?
I don't see it happening. Notre Dame's offense is better than what they were last year. Reese is throwing for over 1,000 yards already, and it's only been 4 games maybe for them. But Notre Dame is good of a hot offense. You know, they lost Landry Jones, Oklahoma, this past season. They look pretty decent. The quarterback is trying to fill up to his shoes, but not there yet. But again, Reese is too hot as a quarterback right now. 1,000 yards. He threw for big bombs in the games that needed the most for Notre Dame. So right now, even though the ranks show that, you know, Notre Dame is under them, I see Notre Dame destroying Oklahoma in this game.
Well, there you go.
Well, next we'll talk more about what Mack Brown plans to do this weekend. Against K-State. Don't go anywhere. It's College Press Box.
Designed to be a little shorter, more like fly or rough.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Jordan Spieth the former Longhorns golf player, Jordan Spieth, has been blowing up golf news over the past few months. At the age of 20, he has made it to the top 10 in most of the tours he has competed in, and he is the youngest to win a John Deere Classic, winning the purse of over $800,000. Recently, he placed 7th in the FedEx playoffs this week. He was 13 last week. And in the Tour Championship, he tied for 2nd under 10 shots, close under the 3 behind Henrik Stenson. He is also nominated Rookie of the Year and is one of captain picks to win the Presidential Championship next month. College Press Box's Thomas Brigham went out to the street to ask people about the future of Texas football and which Texas pro team is their favorite in this edition of Man on the Street.
I'm at the 40 Acres interviewing UT students about this week's Kansas State game and their favorite NFL team. Texas has struggled against K-State throughout the years. Who will win this weekend?
Gonna say K-State, unfortunately.
And why is that?
The past 2 weeks' performance has been very bleak, very bad. I just don't see them pulling out a win.
Texas.
Why is that? Why do you have faith in them?
Because I have faith in my boys. I know we're going to pull through. I've had enough disappointment.
It's going to be Texas.
Why do you have faith in the team?
Because Mack Brown.
Texas. Definitely Texas.
And why?
Because I have faith in my school.
Who should be our starting quarterback?
I'm going to say Ash if he's ready to play. So.
And why is that?
I just feel like he's more of a captain compared to Case. I feel like he's better at rounding the troops up and pulling out an actual great team performance.
I'm going to go with Case McCoy because he's brothers with Colt McCoy, and if Colt McCoy can do it, Case McCoy can do it.
I would say David Ash. I like him. He's all right. I don't know him, but I like him.
I have to say, from what I've seen last week, David Ash. I think he's a bit more mobile, and Case, it seems kind of inconsistent.
Cowboys or Texans fan?
Texans all the way. Texans.
Why is that?
I'm from Houston, and I mean, just the fact they're an 11-year-old franchise now, they're actually like great chance of winning the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's great to me. So I mean, they're doing great so far. So Texans for sure.
Texans. I'm from Houston.
A-Town represent.
Well, Texas football is off this weekend as it is their bye week. There's still some Longhorn sports occurring this weekend. This week, Wednesday, volleyball takes on TCU at TCU. Thursday, there's men's swimming and diving at the Orange and White meet at 3 p.m. Friday, track and field and cross country is going to the Texas Invitational in Round Rock. And there's also soccer versus TCU here at 7. On Saturday, softball takes on Incarnate Ward at 10 a.m. In Odessa, volleyball takes on OU at 3. And soccer versus Iowa State takes place Sunday at 1 p.m. And men's and women's tennis is at the ITA All-American Championships throughout the week. Well, Julian, we touched on this earlier. Let me get a score prediction from you for the Oklahoma State versus West Virginia game and the OU versus Notre Dame game.
I say for the Oklahoma State game versus West Virginia, I see it going 31-3. Oklahoma State. And OU versus Notre Dame, I see the game 28-24 Notre Dame.
Wow, well, there are your score predictions for you, and that does it for us tonight on College Press Box. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at College Press Box, and make sure to tune in to College Crossfire Wednesday at 9:30 and follow them on Twitter at College X Fire. For Julian Owens and Master Control, I'm Joshua Blunt. Have a good night, Austin.
Doubt the South, that's fine. We riding dirty at the same time, shine. For all the dope boys pushing on the grind. For all the dope girls keeping them in line.